a little taste of that unknowing. Living in a fast car, living in a fast car days.
Welcome back to another edition of Checkers, Wreckers, and What the Heckers. My name is Chad Bearden. I'm a country music artist, content creator, and NASCAR super fan. Joined as always by my incredible co-host. Please allow me to introduce them to you. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because entering the studio is the man whose hair has more volume than a Metallica concert. His mane is so perfect, it makes shampoo commercials look like mugshots, and rumor has it NASCAR banned him from the wind tunnel because his flow created a Category 5 hurricane. He's slicker than a pit crew's oil spill and hotter than a Waffle House griddle at 3 a.m. Give it up for the follicle phenom himself, Rick Kojan.
Wow.
What up,
Rick?
y'all? Thank you,
Banned
Chad.
Banned from the wind tunnel, huh?
Hey, Supreme Court Justice, I'm creating a hurricane. Where does he come up with this shit? That's awesome. God bless you, Chad. I love you, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me back for yet another week.
Yeah.
But we've got better than me. What else you got?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put down your phones, delete your search history, and bow before the bench, because entering the podcast courtroom is none other than the man who makes Clarence Thomas look vanilla. This IT tech turned NASCAR heartthrob has ruled on cases involving broken laptops, broken hearts, and occasionally the broken condom wrapper. And spoiler alert, he always finds you guilty of being too damn boring. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris, Supreme Court Justice.
Welcome back, boys. Yet again for another fabulous week.
It's going to be an exciting one.
What up, Hendrick? You feeling better this week after your run at Gateway?
The run was good, but there were still some debacles to be had. But we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that.
That's later. All right. I do want to remind everybody that this episode is being brought to you by our friends at the Chord Buddy. You can, if you've ever wanted to learn to play guitar, now you can play guitar on day one, playing hundreds of songs with the help of the Chord Buddy. You just put that thing over the neck of your guitar, you follow the color-coded tabs, and you're playing all your favorite songs on day one. I do want to emphasize, it's not a cheat code. It's not a cheat code. This really teaches you how to play guitar, because as you get better, as you progress with your strum patterns, those tabs pop off, and where they once were, your fingers are now making actual chords. You are learning to play guitar. Check them out for their full line of products at chordbuddy.com for the Chord Buddy, the Uke Buddy, and their full line of guitars and all the other great products. Thanks to them for bringing us another guest episode. And do we have a guest today, fellas?
Oh, we got a major one.
Indeed.
Big time. The real deal.
Not that he needs an intro, but let me give it to you.
Here we go.
Tonight's guest is a man who's been upside down, right side up, and still knows how to find time to star in Dancing with the Stars. He's a two-time Daytona 500 winner, the voice of the grid walk, and living proof that if you're tall enough, goofy enough, and loud enough, you can still bag a trophy and a supermodel in the same decade. Ladies and gentlemen, the skyscraper of stock car chaos, Michael Waltrip, is with us.
Well, we have to bow down. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Skyscraper.
We appreciate you joining us.
So much effort went into that introduction and content between your hair and his chords, and I just really appreciate being a part of it.
Well, thank you for being a part of this. We know you're busy. We appreciate you doing this. I always enjoy any time I get to spend with you, sir.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you for having me. And I really appreciate, how much prep you do and how much you love NASCAR and bringing the two worlds that I love so much together, country music and NASCAR. So I just wanted to say, Chad, appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you, sir. We've got to do that in a few different ways, a few different times, and we'll get into some of all that. But I want to go back and kind of I know we only have a limited amount of time, and we appreciate you sharing your time. We want to be
and I wanted to say I appreciate you limiting my time. And I told you earlier today, I said, I have all night if you just want to do some like 4 hour deal. And you're like, no, Mike, I have 20 minutes for you.
No, that is
So,
not true. You know,
so
that
I,
is
I
not true.
appreciate the 20 minutes. I'll be very succinct, right to
Yeah.
the point, make sure that I, don't waste any of your time over the next 20 minutes.
I
He
don't
turns
know.
into a different person once he gets behind that mic.
I don't know where the 20 minutes came from. Never once have I said that. Never once have I not picked up the phone when you called and talked for as long as you wanted to.
Succinct. That's what you are.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about uh your background and how you got into racing. You grew up in Kentucky, right?
Yeah. Obviously, my brother was a NASCAR superstar. When I was 16, when he was 16 years old, I was a baby. I was born. And so by the time I knew what was going on in the world, Daryl was off racing against Richard Petty and David Pearson and Cale Yarborough. And so I just really, really, I had a focus, a direction as a kid. I wanted to be like my big brother. I wanted to head south and I wanted to race in NASCAR. And I'm really thankful for my big brother for giving me that focus because a lot of times kids get lost, and and whether it's country music or baseball, football, whatever, if you have something that you're passionate about from a very young age, it defines who you are, who you can be. Sometimes you don't get to the MLB or you don't get to the NFL, but you gave it a run. That gave you focus as a kid, and I'm so thankful for my brother Daryl for giving me that focus. And fortunately for me, it worked out. I started racing go-karts when I was 12, and I won races in stock cars when I was 17. I ran my first NASCAR race when I was 19, and I had a really great career. I'm very thankful.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you because it really interests me. It was before I guess I really knew anything about this series as I was growing up. But you've talked about running in the Dash series, and that's something that we don't have anymore. So, if you will, explain what the Dash series was and kind of like how you felt racing in that.
Goodies
Well,
Dash, wasn't it, Chad? I think it was Goodies.
Well, when I did it, it was a Darlington Dash series, and then Goodies became the sponsor of it after that. But there was a guy, a like a Hall of Fame guy in the Dash series. His name was Richard Mash, and Richard built the best cars for the Dash series. And Dean Combs, who went Cup racing after his Dash career, he won the championship with Richard Mash. I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and I went when I moved to North Carolina. I got to meet Richard Mash, and he said, "Drive my cars," and I was able to win the championship in the Dash Series in 1983. So the Dash Series is basically four-cylinder stock cars that would run some of the Cup tracks. I mean, I got to run Daytona, I got to run Atlanta, Darlington, Rockingham in a four-cylinder Chevrolet Cavalier, and like I said, I was very successful at it. Won the championship in '83, and that sort of started my NASCAR career.
What's the biggest difference between say Daytona, for example? I mean, obviously that's a track you've had lots of success at, but running that in a cup car and running that in a four-cylinder car,
Speed.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but it also has to react different, right?
Yeah, slower. So
So
let me give you the
Okay.
1983 Dash Series lap at Daytona in this four-cylinder Chevy Cavalier. Like there wasn't much to it. And then 2 years later, um, 3 years later, I guess I'm in a full blown Cup car at Daytona, running 200 miles an hour. So a crazy difference, but really thankful for you know getting my roots in NASCAR in the Dash Series with Richard Mash and that whole experience that I had there. It made me feel it I think it made me feel validated. Like I know I'm Daryl's little brother, but I can also drive, and that was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. You ever think NASCAR brings something like that back?
I hope not. They were really annoying. The noise, the sound they made, they just wasn't good.
How deep were the fields?
There was like 4 or 5, 10 guys, I guess. I don't know. There was 24 of us that would race, and there was guys that were Mickey York, G.W. Gibson. I remember these names, and it makes me smile
Yeah.
that were really solid racers, and we would leave Daytona and go to Greenville, Pickens, or Rougemont, North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee. We raced some legit tracks, and it was really cool to be a kid and then go up against these guys. These guys were, they were veterans. They raced short tracks, and that's how it sort of all started for me.
Did you
Yeah.
haul the cars or the series hauled them?
We hauled them, we built them, we hauled them, we worked on them, we tuned them.
Wow.
So was this the precursor to the ARCA series, or was it something totally different?
It was not totally different than the ARCA series. ARCA and Darlington Dash and ASA, they were all regional series, if you will. You
Gotcha.
ran your part of the world and you had different rules. I don't think it was much different than that.
Gotcha.
So I've heard you tell a story a few times about you moved in with Richard Petty for a little while, and he kind of between he and Humpy Wheeler, right, kind of helped you get into your first cup car. Is that correct?
It's exactly correct. I was living with Richard, and I had this opinion that if you did the Dash series, then you did the Bush series, and then you did the Cup series if you were successful. And winning the championship in the Dash series made me check that box. And then I thought I had to run the Bush series next, and I moved in with the King. It was an amazing experience. I lived with Kyle for a while, and then I moved in with the King, and it's a long story of how all that happened, but the King said, "You don't need to run Bush series. If you want to be a Cup driver, drive the Cup series." And
Really?
I said, "All right, Rich, how am I going to do that? Because I don't have no money." And he said, "Well, I ain't got no car for you, so just figure it out." And so through his direction, uh, I went to speak to Humpy Wheeler at the Charlotte Motor Speedway about running the Coca-Cola 600 in 1985. Dash champion in 83, won some dash races in 84. 85, I didn't really have a ride. And Richard said, go talk to Humpy. And I went to see Humpy, and Humpy said, I'll buy you a set of tires, 2 sets of tires, if you can find somebody to give you a ride. And so I went to see Dick Bayer in Statesville, North Carolina. Jeff Bodine had driven for him. He had some cars, and he said, if you can buy the tires, you can drive my car. And I made my first start in NASCAR in '85 through the direction of Richard Petty, and because you know Humpy Wheeler, who we recently lost,
Right.
was a great promoter, and he's like, I think Daryl's little brother needs a chance, and so I'm really thankful and blessed for all these opportunities and the difference that people made in my life. And it's really cool to be able to reflect. And thanks for having me, Chad, and being able to remember these times.
Yeah. How did you finish in that first 600?
Well, I outqualified Richard Petty, who I was living with. I think I was 19th and he was 23rd or 4th. And I I remember 550 miles into it, I'm coming down pit road with the shifter in my hand because it had vibrated out of the transmission, and so I retired because of a failed transmission. I think is what you'll see if you look on the internet. But I think I might have finished 26th. But wow, I'm so thankful for those memories, and how kind, caring people made a difference in my life.
Yeah. So what was your first full-time cup ride?
A year later with Dick Bayer in the Hawaiian Punch Pontiac, and it was 1986. Me and Alan Kowicki and a couple other guys competed for Rookie of the Year. Alan went on to be Rookie of the Year, and I finished second. But 1986 was my first full-time season.
With that first full-time season in '86 and running for Rookie of the Year, I guess what drivers or what took you under their wing outside of Big Brother and the King to kind of guide you and give you advice during that rookie season?
And if you don't mind, could you tell me what kind of studio you're in? What have you got going on there?
He's got some DraftKings going on.
Yeah, just some sports book kind of wallpaper back there.
Right on. It's good looking.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, so the first couple of years, really, you know, just trying to get established and the fact that, you know, I think it's pretty well known that Daryl wasn't a whole lot of help in my early years. His last name and him being my brother opened many doors for me, and so I'm very thankful for my brother. And I would never be disrespectful to him or mad at him for not helping me, because it, you know, I was able to be able to get where I wanted to be. But he wasn't a lot of help, and I think there was guys like, you know, like Kyle Petty and Richard Petty, and then eventually Dale Earnhardt, who said, "Well, he's here for some reason. He's worked really hard to get here and appreciated my effort." And you know, if you think about it, if you look at the stats, I lost a lot of races before I ever won, you know, a cup race, but I think in my fourth start I won a Busch race. So I knew, and I think everybody knew, I had the ability to get it done, and just circumstantially or whatever, it didn't happen for me. But uh, you know, probably the biggest, um, the thing that made me most confident was Dale's belief in me, and it was like, I would say 1988, 89, he let me drive his Busch car that he built behind his house. You know, that was his car. And he said, "You drive it." That meant the world to me.
Gotcha.
Tell me, if you don't mind, about your time with the Wood brothers. These guys will tell you I'm kind of a homer for the Wood brothers. So I love, obviously I have your shirt and your hat and your diecast from the Wood brothers, but yeah, I love that family and their legacy. So tell me about your time driving for them and winning the Winston Select.
Yeah, that was an awesome night. You know, if you think about how that was going down, I transitioned from the Pennzoil Pontiac to the Citgo Ford, but my whole focus in 1996 was the Wood brothers have given me the keys to their family car. You know, they chose me to drive their car, and I have to win in it. And I think when we got to Charlotte in May of '96, we were top 10 in points. We'd had some good runs. We were competitive, and that night it just all came together. We had to transfer from the Winston Open to make it into the Winston, and I think they took. No, I don't think. I know. I'm sorry. It sounded like I was just like, you know, I think, but I know. They took 5 cars, and I finished 5th. And I told Eddie and Lynn after the Winston Open, you know, this car is horrible. Like, I can't drive it. We have to figure out some adjustments. And they're like, "Well, we can't fix a car that's horrible. We need to know exactly what's wrong with it." And I said, "Well, when I get in the corner, it's loose, getting into the corner, and it's pushing in the center." And so they went to work on it, and we started last in the Winston. And whether the sun setting and changing the track, or the adjustments, or a combination of the two, man, I liked my car. And like I told y'all earlier, if you can appreciate this, I don't know I think it was based on fact. I knew I could drive.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could beat those people. Like it wasn't a lack of confidence. It was just like, damn, it's just not working out. And so uh, when we started the All Star race that night, I just was passing people, and I'm like, this car is good, and I'm good, and we're gonna win. And drove from last to the middle of the field, and then had to restart with with 10 to go for the final stint. And Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, Rusty Wallace, me were the first four. Three Hall of Famers, three Cup champions, and was able to get by those guys and win it that night. And I think that night meant so much to me. Not for me, it was cool for me, and the trophies around here somewhere. It was really cool for me, but I think it just meant so much to me that the Wood brothers let me drive their
Belief in
car,
you. Yeah,
and I was able to go win.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Outside of winning the 500, was there a favorite place that you enjoyed winning?
Uh, I liked winning the Busch race at Bristol. That was
Mm-hmm.
really cool. And when I was a kid, at the age of 17, me and my buddies would drive from Kentucky to Alabama. Um, Plus, you could drink in Alabama when you were 19, which you couldn't do in Kentucky. So we would go drink some beers and go to Talladega and watch my brother race.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to win at Talladega. So that was really cool as well. I was really thankful about that. And then winning at Charlotte, not only in the All Star race but in the Busch Series, able to get a couple wins there, and that's your home track, So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so you ended up going to work for Dale. You said that he believed in you. He took you under his wing, gave you some opportunities, and you got your first points win with him with his company in the 2001 500. You ended up winning two Daytona 500s in his cars, right?
Yes.
And how long did you stay with DEI?
I was there from '01 to the end of the '05 season, and then I don't know, there was Toyota was coming NASCAR racing, and we got an opportunity to be a part of that. So I decided to move on and become an owner driver, and we were able to win races in NASCAR as a team at Michael Waltrip Racing. Boyer finished second in the championship in 12, and so that sort of was you know '06, '07. I don't remember the exact timeline, but that was when I moved on from DEI, and eventually Dale Jr. moved on as well, and then we started our own team.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question about your ownership time, your time as an owner. You had some great cars, some great drivers, some great looking schemes too. Um, but how was that transition in becoming an owner of a team? And
I loved
you were
it.
still driving and owning the team, so
Yeah, I loved it. So when I was a kid, when I first started racing NASCAR, if you think about this, my brother had his own Bush team. Um, that was his hobby, if you will. Dale had his own Bush team when he drove for RCR. Um, like Dale Jarrett, he had his own team. That's sort of the way you did it. So I started a Bush team when I went to drive for the Wood Brothers in '96 behind my house. And we were able to win races in the Bush Series in a car that I owned and we built behind my house, which I thought was one of the coolest things I'd ever done. And then so we just took that team, if you will, and grew it into a cup team and went racing for Toyota in '07. And that was sort of the progression of my career. And it was tough in '07. Toyota was new to NASCAR, and we they brought in new teams, and there was a struggle, and we were able to survive that, and then we were able to thrive and nearly win the championship in 012.
Yeah. So how did you first get into to the media side of things with calling the truck races and doing the grid walk and that kind of stuff?
Well, I will credit Daryl Waltrip again. You know, Daryl's been my mentor. He was my hero when I was a kid. But Daryl in the 70s, you know, Richard Petty with his cowboy hat and Kel Yarborough, ugh, I'll beat your ass. And Daryl showed up in penny loafers and slacks. He was just different, but
Right.
he was an awesome talent. You know, he could drive the heck out of a race car. Obviously, he was just different, but he also understood the media side of things and how to get people's attention for his sponsors. And you know, you got to remember when he was winning his first NASCAR races, I was 10 years old,
Right.
and I'm like, I'm like, this guy's cool. And so I understood that there was a couple of, there was, I think, two distinct, important parts of being a NASCAR champion, a racer. Obviously, you had to be dedicated and you had to be the best driver in the world. But secondly, you had to take care of your sponsors. And so that's how I grew up. And I was able to transition from race car driver to media guy because I understood the importance of the sponsors and the media. And just, I think the first time I did anything in the broadcasting world might have been 1991, and I did some work for ESPN, and I did some work for while I was a young racer trying to make his way, and I did some stuff for MRN, and then eventually, Fox came along, and I was able to do some truck races, and that's sort of it. But it goes way back to Daryl and how much influence he's had on my life, and how much I appreciate what he did, and how much I wanted to be like my big brother.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool how you've kind of had all these different um, jobs and responsibilities and personalities inside of NASCAR, but so many different facets. But
Yeah.
you somehow you're remembered for all of them. Like I don't know very many guys who are like that who are remembered as a driver and a team owner, and you are an iconic part of the Fox broadcast now. Everybody like loves the grid walk, loves watching you go to talk to these drivers and people, people who know that I know you and that I get to be around you a little bit. They ask me all the time, you know, is he putting on an act, or is that how he is? I'm like, that
That's
is
him.
true,
It's true.
genuine. Like I've never seen Michael in all the times I've been around you ever put on an act. You're just genuinely you. And I love that that's what people see, and they truly appreciate that, I think. And
I honestly, Chad, if you told me how the grid walk started or asked me, I would say, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. When someone said, "Hey, go down there and interview those guys uh, before they get in their car," I mean, I guess that's how it happened, but I really don't remember. But I will tell you this: it. I think I'm just very thankful and happy. I raced cars for 30 years, and when I go down there, they're getting ready to get in their cars, and they know I'm going to be a goofball. Like, I'm not accidentally a goofball. Intentionally a goofball, if that makes any difference at all about the goofball status. But I'm just gonna have fun, and I think it's really cool that when I get down there, the drivers are,
They embrace you.
yeah, here
Yeah,
comes
that makes
Mike.
the
Yeah, they
segment right
they
there.
embrace you.
Yeah,
And
they know it's coming.
they stand there with with Progressive, or you know, they stand there with all these different sponsors on their bellies, and we're on Fox, and millions of people are watching. So I think it might be a little bit self-serving, but it makes me happy that they're nice to me.
I mean, I think well, first of all, you walk into any room and like you're just the life of the party always. Like you naturally, people just gravitate to you, and I think the drivers are the same way. And they, I think there is a huge amount of respect for you because you've been a driver and you've been an owner and you've been a broadcaster, and you you didn't take shortcuts in any of it. You worked and you earned every opportunity
And
that
we're
you got.
legit. And we're
Yeah.
legit at each
helps with the
one.
validation. It
Right?
validated
Yeah,
everything.
well, you were legit at each one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really thankful for what all's happened. And now I'm enjoying being the guy on Fox doing the truck races, I always tell people we get to meet them before they become stars. And,
True.
when these kids show up, you're like, okay, that guy's special. Just like, we're living the Corey Haim
Yep.
era right now. A couple years ago, he showed up at Darlington, and in the first race at Darlington of all places, he's contending for the win. And now he's done a whole lot of special things. So it's really fun for me now to be a part of that Fox team and watch these kids do what they love to do.
Yeah, it's cool to watch you on there. Um, so NASCAR is headed to Bristol this weekend, and that's a kind of a special place for you, right?
Yeah, we were able to get a couple of wins there in the Busch Series. We almost died there one day in 1990. 4790 came off turn two and got got bumped up the track and hit the end of a concrete wall, and the car exploded. And I guess, Chad, I don't know if you have the ability or the technology in this show that while I'm speaking, you'll be showing this crash.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought so. With how polished your introduction of your guests were, I assumed that you could do that. And then a couple years later, won and proposed to my wife Buffy. Um, she's my ex-wife now, but it doesn't sound as good of a story if I say my ex-wife Buffy. So I said wife Buffy. And then a few years later, got a big win there with my own team in my backyard in 2004, I think it was. So just a lot of great memories from Bristol, and just love going there. I don't have a job there Saturday night this weekend, but I'm heading to Bristol to watch the races.
But you loved it so much, you built a brewery there.
Yeah, we have a bar. I'm gonna go up there Friday night and hang out and see what everybody's doing. We got a bar there. We sell beer. Michael Waltrip Brewing Company we're headquartered in Bristol, so that's cool. And we have a really cool experience there. And I'm sure over the next 4 or 5 days, it'll just ramp up to being more and more people go there and visit and see it. A lot of the memorabilia from my career, a lot of great memories in Bristol. So look forward to seeing everybody in Bristol this weekend.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful spot too. So let's talk about the beer company real quick because that's kind of how we kind of got to know each other and through our friend Chris Weaver, um, who does the intro to this show, his song Fast Car Days that featured you in the music video, and I got to be a part of producing that and helping put that together. And then you and I kind of hit it off, and then we took your beer out on the road last year. Yeah, last year. So we took it to several different places across the country and got to do some shows together, and you came out and made appearances, and fans loved it. Nashville was a huge hit when we were there. And so you started this beer company, and you've got your two big ones are Talladega Lights, right? Talladega
Yes,
Light
and
and
Bristol
Bristol
Sunshine.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a buddy that I live on a golf course here in North Carolina, and I have a buddy that lives on the 11th hole. And every day that I go by there and play the 11th hole, I just text him and say, "Beers and sunshine." And he'll walk out the back door with some Bristol Sunshines. And so we have all kinds of different beers in the we have stouts and porters and wheats, but the two that we have in distribution are the Bristol Sunshine, which is a tangerine, just a light tangerine beer that it's just a good easy drinking beer. And then the Talladega Light, which is a light lager that I think, I don't know. I know I'm prejudiced, or I'm very, very proud of my beers, but they're wonderful, and anybody that has them loves them.
Yes.
And so if you're in Bristol and you want to go to a cool bar and have a cold beer that tastes really good, we're there for you. And then we're also in the food cities, food country. We're in a lot of different grocery stores in the Bristol area, in the Mooresville area. We have bars in Mooresville and Concord.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm proud of my beer, and it's been a fun time. I didn't start out to own a beer company. Obviously, I was a race car driver, but a couple buddies of mine said, why don't you ever drink beer much? And I said, I don't know. I usually drink wine. And they're like, well, we need to drink more beer. And I'm like, well, let's make some we like. And that's what we did. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how life happens? You're like, yeah, sure, let's do that.
And so, yeah, you have a tap room just about less than a mile from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes.
There in Concord. And then you opened up one down in Mooresville, which, if folks don't know, is kind of race central for all these race
I believe
teams.
it's Race City, USA. It says
Race
so on the
City.
water tower.
Yeah, and on the wall inside Michael Waltrip tap room.
Done.
Done. There it is.
Done. Yeah, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed the beer world. It's hard, you're not gonna, if you ever walk into a Harris Teeter, fellers, you ever walk into Harris Teeter and then look down the beer aisle and see how many there are?
Yes.
Tons.
Like, who were we to think that we could even make a dent in that?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, but our beers are good and people enjoy them, and so that's enough for me.
Right.
Yeah. And the food is also really good at the tap rooms too.
Yeah, we have great food. I'm really, like, anybody that ever goes there, I just know they're going to enjoy it, and I'm thankful for that.
Rick and
Chad, you pitched that bologna sandwich?
I was going to say, Rick and I have been trying to get your chefs on board with doing a bologna sandwich. So
menu modification.
I love bologna.
Well, Rick, there's one, Rick and I kind of, wherever we go, try to find a bologna sandwich, but there's one down there close to you that we hit up sometime at Hello Sailor.
Yeah.
It used to be Rusty Rudder. They have a good one.
They have an incredible bologna sandwich. So I actually, when Jenna was still working for you,
right,
I went and picked up several of those and took them to her one night, and your crew at Concord feasted on fried bologna sandwiches one night. I said, you just need to go on the menu.
Yeah, I love bologna. That's why I watch y'all's show.
That makes sense. That's perfect.
We'll take it.
Full of bologna.
Yeah, full of it.
This is why it's always fun. It's always interesting. There's never a dull moment with you.
Ever.
Well, I appreciate you having me on and chatting about my beer, but mostly just hanging out. You guys are cool.
We appreciate it so much. We look forward to Rick and I will be.
I'm Rick.
Rick.
Yeah.
Rick and I will be in Bristol this weekend.
You call me Brick if you want.
Rick Tamlin, Channel 4 News Team.
Yeah.
So, anyways, maybe we'll come by and see you at the brewery.
Are you going to be there Friday night?
That's my plan. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and then off to the races.
And would you hang Friday night post Xfinity? Because I have Xfinity duties with Sam Mayer, but would you be there post race?
Duggar
Who-
texted me too and said he's playing post Xfinity race
Where
Playing.
at the track?
at the track.
Yeah. Hopefully I can have a beer with Duggar at Michael Waltrip Brewing. But yeah,
All right.
I love Duggar. He just got back from Amsterdam
That
or
guy's a
somewhere.
traveling fool. He goes to
Yeah.
Ireland like every other week.
I'm gonna go from the race then, Chad, to the brewery because I've not been to that one. I've been to the tap rooms here.
Yeah.
I like the bump and run wheat, I think it was.
I
But
love the wheat.
dude, come
I
on.
have a porter, the wheelman that Phil Parsons. It's on his behalf because he loves dark beer.
Speaking of Phil, before we let you go, I want to ask you. So I was with Phil a few weeks ago at the NASCAR broadcast center over in Concord. He was doing the ARCA race, and my buddy Brent Stover was calling the ARCA race with him. But one of the producers, oh man, I can't, man, he doesn't
Mark,
he produces IMSA now, I think, but he used to produce truck races with you,
Mark
and he
Smith.
maybe I can't believe him. But they took me into a production room and showed me some of these old episodes of Halloween costumes
Oh
that you
yeah,
guys did
yeah.
on some of these truck races.
I
And
was Mrs. Howell.
yes, so there was one they all did Gilligan's Island,
Yeah,
and he was dressed up like Mrs. Howell. There was another one, was it Wizard of Oz that y'all
yeah,
did
I
or
think
something?
so. I
Uh
just remember uh, being. I think I was Ginger.
yes,
I
maybe.
don't know who
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was.
You were
I don't
one
know
of
who
the
I am.
girls.
I was
But
dressed up as a girl.
I was like, man, can we bring back some of these dress ups? Get Mikey back in some costumes.
Fun
Oh,
times.
yeah, Phil was telling me lots of stories. So it was good. But yeah, I meant to ask you about the Halloween costumes. Guys, did you have any questions that I missed that you want to ask
Yeah,
Michael?
guys, I really expected more out of you.
There's a lot more. He never gives us any airtime.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
not true.
understand.
Oh,
I don't really know what the hell just happened.
yeah.
All right, Rick, go ahead. You
You
got
two
notes.
really disappointing me.
Can I fire some off, Chad?
Fire some off.
I'll tell you
All
what,
right.
my time is up.
Shit.
But you both can ask one question.
Can I ask the rest at the brewery? Because I'm coming after the Xfinity race. Whether you're there or not, I'll send Chad a picture. He'll teach me how to send it out on Instagram.
I'm with you, brother.
I'll be
You're
there with you.
there. I'll buy you the first round.
I'm going. I'm coming as soon as we're done.
All right. Mad respect for the Bobby Allison shirt.
He was my I love the sport since I was 5 years old, and he was my absolute first favorite driver.
Did you know this? Like no one knows this, and I'm going to tell you something that I guarantee you no one knows. I was racing in the Dash Series in Milwaukee in 1984, and uh, Bobby Allison and Daryl Waltrip were both in the Bush race that weekend, and the support event, the Friday event, the day before event was the Dash Series, and I was in it.
Yep.
And Bobby and Daryl were both going off to race a Saturday night short track race somewhere, and uh, Daryl, I'm like, there was a practice. And I said, Daryl, you want me to practice your car? And I'd never driven a V8. I'd only ever driven the four cylinders. Daryl said, no, I'm good. I said, Bobby, can I practice your car? He said, sure, Mike, you drive my car. And I practiced
Bush
Bobby's
car.
Bush late model sportsman Bush. I think it was Bush car in '84. And it was the first time I'd ever driven a V8, and Bobby trusted me
That's
uh,
awesome.
That is
to
badass.
and
That's
so
cool.
then that like I was really blessed to be friends with Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Allison. Bobby would we would go to a lot of short track races after practice on Saturday when I was a young Cup driver, and I would fly with Bobby. You know, he was a pilot,
Yeah.
And we would fly together. So he was a really, really big part of my one of the many mentors that and a person that really, you know, embraced me coming to NASCAR, and it meant the world to me.
Yeah, I mean, the first car I remember was the Coca-Cola number 12 Monte Carlo. I rooted for him in anything he raced in, including when people were making fun of me because I was rooting for a red, white, and blue number 16 AMC Matador. Whatever he was in. So I got one for you, and you'll know it because you're tight with Bobby. How many people you think know that he raced? And I now have the picture, and it's signed in Indianapolis in an Indy car.
Yeah.
1973. I have the picture. It's awesome. I treasure it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I figured you did. Cool.
Chris, you got one?
That was not my question, Chad.
Oh, sorry.
That was a sideline. I just want to know, like, there's so many things I want to ask, but like, do we know of any other driver that has popped out and unfolded 6.5 inches or 6.6 inches through the roof hatch? I remember you did that. I remember thinking to myself, what if that becomes a thing?
I remember that was 2003 at Talladega, and I just remember when we were building that car.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, like, I was too big for the cars in the early O's. Like they were. I mean, it was really a concern for me.
Your helmet was scrubbing the roof, yeah?
Yeah, and they come up with the roof hatch. And so when I won that day, I could not wait to, in Talladega, a racetrack that, you know, I went to one of my first Cup races at, be able to do that. That was awesome.
That's cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Chad, I'm done. Until the brewery,
Chris,
I'll
did you
ask
have
more
one
questions.
No, listen, I'm just thankful, man. All these cool stories and being a somewhat of a rookie in the business. I just love hearing these old stories of how these guys made it and the connections they made. It's beautiful to me, like just the timelines and like the overlaps of circles. Like I can sit here all night and just listen.
I agree.
Well, I can sit here all night and
I just wish we had more beer.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we'll try it again on Friday night. What do you say?
I promise you I'm coming in there. The only way I'll be late is if that 41 car's in victory lane. Other than that, we just get a good finish. I'm coming as soon as the race is over.
Love it.
I like it.
All right.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, Michael.
No, I really enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all's interest in what I'm doing and what I've done, and looking forward to seeing you at the races.
Yep.
You got it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
See
you
you,
as
man.
always. Michael Waltrip on Checkers, Wreckers, and What the Heckers.
So I went wide open, hoping for a